get across the river from where you're at
How
at the
big is the
moment.
river, by the way? I should know this because I was raised here. Is there not any kind of ford, some kind of bridge? Where's the closest path across the river? Is there a ferry? What is
There
there?
is another. There is if you go through the city and up out the gate on the southwest edge of the city, there is you can ride up past the one of the merchant prince's estates and up along the west side of the river to reach it. Or you can. There's usually a small barge that ferries people across the river right here by the barge docks.
Let's do that.
So just quickly, how does like this city to Arendelle, like how does this city to me compare to Kintaris? Because this is sort of the first big, huge major city that I've really seen since back in Valley Bowl,
Right.
was it?
Well, would you keep... Um, from what you saw when you docked at Liberty, Liberty was a very small, nice little rustic flavored halfling city. Things fairly well spaced out like they are in Kintaris. You don't see much other than the barge docks. You see the river runs off a cliff ahead of you. There's scattered little copses of trees. And you see the wall here ahead of you to the city proper. But it's only a short section of wall. It goes from the river off and it looks like it bends back around towards this cliff. And you don't really see anything of the city itself from where you're at.
We can see out over the edge to the sea, though,
you
right?
guys can move the party token along the road there for wherever you're going. What's that?
So
We can still see the sea over the cliff, though, right? From the perspective, or no?
Yeah, you can see the sea on the horizon beyond where there's this huge sinkhole that the river drops into.
Right. Okay.
So Arendelle is sort of confused a little bit, and he sort of points at the walls and says, "I can see the walls, but where's the town? I don't see the town."
Swallowed by the sea, can't you see? It looks like Port Harvan's gone. And now the sky, it's still storming, right?
Yeah, it's kind of scattered sour. It's still really windy. Struggling to keep the bounce moving into the wind.
It's like the sea's advancing on the land.
You come up.
Sure, we
you
shouldn't turn
see
around.
This here. There's two large carvings on the facing of this temple of the symbol of Artis, and and a lot of smaller carvings along the lintels and along the footings of just horses and ponies prancing around. One large one up tucked nestled underneath the peaks of the two roofs, peaked roofs running with like a fresco of like a trade caravan on each one. And the main doors are down here, and as you move over towards the docks, you see that the docks are full up. They have over a dozen river barges lashed down tight against the storm, and there's nobody about on the docks themselves. Everything seems to be battened down because of the storm.
And that
We
big
can't
water
get a
swallowing up
ride.
the city.
Well, this is not my temple. I mean, these are
Say again?
servants of artists.
Kvik saying the sea is
Yes,
swallowing up
that
Port
is-
Harvan.
That's the other order. So what Zilpha was getting at is there's actually two orders of the priest of Artis that have temples in the city, and this is a temple of Artis, but it's not for her order. Did you read the handout on Port Harvan, Shannon?
Yeah, I did. So they serve they serve
Okay,
serve
so-
artists, but they are not. My order of the servants of artists are closer to the sea, or closer to the big water, Kavik. These are still servants of
I
artists,
think it's
but
gone.
they.
The sea swallowed it. Look, the storm's coming in.
Oh
The sea
no,
is
honey,
swallowing
no,
up the
it's
land.
fine. It's fine.
I'm beginning
it's
to think
fine.
along the same lines as Gavik here.
Does anything look unusual, Elena, as I look over my city? Do I see that the sea has swallowed the city, or is it just what I would expect during a storm?
No, it's exactly what you'd expect during a storm. The barges are all lashed down. The man who operates the little barge to get across the river to the Temple of Atene is actually one of the priests of the temple over here, and it seems that the river bar, that little barge is lashed down as tight as all the rest of the traders' barges here, and there's no
Well-
sign of the priest that usually operates that barge.
Well, Elena will go over to this temple. Elena. Zilpha will go over to this temple, and she will mention that as a servant of artists, she needs to cross the
Okay.
river. Is it possible to cross at this time, or is the water impassable at this time?
As you approach, you see some lights through the cracks between the doors, and looks like just lamp lights from inside. And as you come up to the doors themselves, they appear to be barred against the storm as well.
Knock, knock, knock.
Thumping on the door, and the wind is rattling the doors back and forth already, and you don't get any response because you're banging on the doors, but it just sounds like the wind is banging the doors around already, and so there's no response to you pounding on the doors.
How rough is this river or this passing at this time? Is there a ford nearby, or is it just impossible?
No, the water is really deep right here, and it's a real fast current. And you know that the river because it narrows down so much before it drops into the sinkhole that the city is held into, that it actually takes a blessing of the priests from the temple here for the river barges to be able to fight the current and get back up away to where the river broadens a little bit to the north.
Bang, bang,
this
bang
is
on
a
the
service that
doors.
the temple. Why this temple is here specifically?
Bang, bang, bang on the doors once again. If we don't get an answer, we'll move on.
Bang on the windows.
Right. You still don't get an answer.
Use
All
your
right,
warhorse
guys.
to kick the door.
Okay, no one's here. We need to get back.
Vic, it's fine. This is just a storm.
Okay.
It's
Shannon,
It's
roll
fine.
me a wisdom check, Shannon, with a +2.
okay. Wisdom check +2. I rolled good.
One good? Or just good?
Yes, she's good.
All right.
Not one good, but
Alrighty, we need to head to the Temple of My Order, which is way down by the water, down where number 1 is indicated on the map. We need to check in there because that person will have the answers for what we're seeking.
that's not exactly what I was getting at. Just you're returning to the city. You need to report in.
Yeah. Well, that's not how she spills it to everybody else. Everybody else is they're going to have the answers. 'Cause
Okay.
Kavik is panicked about the whole city. We need to withdraw. The city's being swallowed by the water. No, we'll go down here. They'll tell us what to do. Is the way she spins it to him.
I will start to explain to Vic about tidal waves.
It's fine, Kavik. It's
His eyes get
fine.
wider. He's
Fine,
dragging
Kavik.
behind.
It's fine.
Slower
We're
and
going
slower.
down here.
Zed, that isn't something Zed, that isn't something your character would know about. Growing up in the inlands and this Iron Vine.
Oh, bummer. That was
So
fun.
we'll travel quickly down to my own temple where I was trained. I spent my entire youth there. I know these people. These are trustworthy people. We can rely on them.
What
Let's start
temple?
traveling down there.
Okay.
Well, we're moving.
So someone's gonna start moving the party.
I'll move the party.
Go ahead, Zip.
We're going to go straight down here to 6. How much can we move? Just keep moving?
Just follow the road, yeah.
Yeah, just don't make huge jumps. Just don't make huge jumps. Okay.
We
you
got down
approach
to 6.
The city wall. You see a couple of the guards, lifting out these wooden hatches in the tops of the towers, and they're looking down, and they recognize your holy symbol and your vestments, and one of them leans back over his shoulder and hollers, "Open the gates!" The traders, one of the traders,
Thank you, friends.
servants of the master of trade, is returning.
Thank you, friends.
And you see 6 guards. You see the doors, the gates start to open, and you can see 6 guards fighting against the wind to control it as they open the gates to let you guys pass in. They only open only one side of it, just enough so that you can move through single file.
Okay, I'm going to stop at this time and I'm going to ask
And as you move in,
compared to storms that I've witnessed throughout my entire life growing up in Port Haravan, and Tixos also grew up here, is this typical, or is this, oh my God, run level of storm?
it's a pretty typical flash storm for the summer season. They don't normally last more than a day or so.
I didn't expect so.
Usually they don't really kick in until the middle of the night and stuff. But it's a fairly normal weather pattern for the time of year.
I didn't expect it to be unusual, but I thought I should check. Okay, so we're going to go down here to the road.
Okay, so as soon as we get through the wall and Kvik actually sees the city now, he's like, oh, there it is.
Stop moving the token, please.
Okay.
Okay. As you come through, you see, because I've got to describe stuff for everybody, Shannon. I know your character, this is home, and it's just ho-hum-de-dum, but not everyone has been here, has spent their life in this place.
Well, you told somebody to take
through,
control of the token, so I'm like, let's go.
Yes, I also said don't make huge jumps.
Yeah.
So as you come, you see there's these little switchbacking and these platforms as the trail descends down into this huge sinkhole, which appears to hold the entirety of the city.
Yeah.
And along this, as the cliff drops down in stages, it's about 250 feet from where you're at to the floor, and the trail zigzags back and forth, and there's these little resting areas and platforms where large trade caravans can turn their beasts into the next switchback. And there's a trail running across, and a little footbridge across to over here, where many of the farmers and stuff from the local area set up on market days. So as you continue down, you see that the buildings are very sturdily built, primarily built of stone with gray clay tiles for the roofs. So it seems to be the typical materials for the buildings.
Okay.
Go ahead, you guys. You can move the token a little faster now as you're descending.
Okay,
Well-
so
Well, we're gonna
now that
head this way toward the main road south toward the temple here at 1.
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Just gonna
As
keep
you're moving
moving.
through the city, there's
Arendelle had something too.
lots of people. There's a lot of little wagons, and probably not as much as there normally would be with the weather being so nasty this evening. But there's still people out and about carrying. Everyone's carrying some bundle or others somewhere. Just
Well,
keep going straight south along the road, not across
Yeah,
the
we're
river.
going south straight toward 1. Sure, and Tixos will have something to add real soon.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's my wizard tower over there with the.
Let Arendelle speak. He was saying something.
yeah, so now
Okay.
that I can actually see the city, like, how does it compare to Kintaris?
It's very crowded and artificial looking. You're going across the river?
Yep.
No. We need to stay on this side of the river. That's where the temple is. No. Come back. No.
Who is
Delphi.
controlling the token?
Dilfa is going right back over the river. Right down on this side.
Yeah.
Straight down to 1. We want
Zed.
1.
Zed, you're seeing more people even dashing about through the fierce winds than you've ever seen in your life.
All right, and
Because
Tixos, you
this
got
city
something to
is
add?
bustling with people. Even
Oh bother! I can see my house from
Benson
here.
wasn't this lively.
I was waiting for that. I'm sorry, Elena. Continue.
Go ahead.
He said, "Oh bother! I can see my house from here."
Fix just turns wide-eyed at all the people now. Now that the sea is a little bit more at a different perspective, where it doesn't look as imposing as before. So now he's just.
Yeah. You do notice also that since you descended into the floor of the sinkhole that holds the city, that the winds are much less severe. They're still blustering and swirling around though.
Keep going south.
Are there boats in the port?
We haven't even
Yeah,
got
you
to
can
the port
see.
yet.
I mean, it's starting to get really dark, but you can see the shadowy outlines of masts.
These
From down
huge,
near
huge
this-
boats
from
I've
that
never seen
direction.
before. What is
Oh,
that?
that's a
That's
boat.
the Temple of Artis right there.
That's where we're heading right now. But over here,
Yes.
there's some boats. But don't worry about the boats. We're not worried about them right now. We got to get over here.
Don't worry
That
about
boat's
that.
bigger than a house.
We won't let them take you away.
I told you the water was big, Vic. Just trust. Just trust. It's real big. Keep moving.
Such a crowded place compared to home.
I like living in the crowded place. There's always people. There's always something to do. All kinds of food. You won't believe the food down here. You want Dominican food? It's here. You want Southern pulled pork barbecue? I can take you to a place. You need you some Brazilian steakhouse? I can take you there.
They
You
got
need you
some good fish.
sushi? I know where there's
Yeah.
some great sushi.
They got some good. They got some good fish markets down there at the wharf.
Yeah. Good tuna, good salmon, good mackerel. It's all good down there.
Haha!
This is where I grew up down here, right here in the Temple of Artis. They dropped me off when I was 9. And I spent all my years thereafter right here in the Temple of Artis. That's where I grew up.
My friends and I used to come out here and pee into the wind off the cliff.
How'd that work for you?
Sometimes it tasted bad.
Quick shakes his head.
That's an orc shower.
Okay. As you're coming up to this just massive structure, you see that the outer wall or outer curtain wall around this temple is decorated with scenes of there's all sorts of different scenes of looks like with carved into marble inlays set into the granite wall. Some of them look like gypsy caravans, and others look like ships sailing with fierce winds blowing and filling their sails. Three temple acolytes come out to help you guys bring your animals in against the wind. They escort you down to this huge stable building.
Hell yeah.
And not there. Here. The largest building inside the wall actually appears to be the stables.
Hell yeah.
There's a small building here which looks like it's the refectory where the acolytes and the permanent residents have their quarters. And most of the open area, there's no, other than the actual gate into the temple, there's no fences and there's no actual door on the stables themselves. The animals are allowed to move in and out freely to graze in the very lush grasses over here. Looks like there's a chapel tucked away in the corner overlooking the ocean there, and down here is a little lean-to with just stacks and stacks of bale after bale of straw and hay piled up underneath it.
Hey, look, Kavik, big water. See the water?
Can we see the water from here, or is there a wall or something that...
No, you actually can't see the water beyond the seawall here on the south side.
I was waiting for this moment, but sadly I don't get to have it. Okay.
He's not from that point of view.
Arendelle's
For months I've been waiting.
Arendelle's kind of feeling a bit attached to his horse at the moment, so as much as he'd appreciate the insistence of the people of the temple, he'd much rather care for his horse himself.
As you start going to doing your stuff to take care of the horse, they give you these huge smiles and pats on the back, and so glad you know how to give a horse a proper care.
Hell yeah.
Yes, well...
They're very enthusiastic that you're shooing them off to take care of your horse yourself.
Yes, well, I reach in and sort of grab a chain that's around my neck and lift it up, sort of showing the symbol of Arta, saying, yes, well, as a traveller myself, I tend to have to know how to do these things.
Very, very, very good. Glad to see one of the faithful come to visit.
Hell yeah.
So I'm just going to go do my level now, quickly.
Zepha's going to get all the animals packed into the very familiar stables that she spent her entire life in. Larry feels very familiar here. She's going to get Kavik's grunt packed in here and make sure all the animals and Porcus and Giuseppe and everybody are comfortable. Beef.
Whoa. I'll take care of the consent.
Yeah,
all right? That's my
you guys
dog.
have been noticing that. Okay, you guys are noticing that even the several very spirited animals you have within your group, all once they're in the temple compound, they settle down and they're very relaxed and you know, like when you see horses when they're standing around, when they're relaxed, well, they lift up a hoof, which means they're not ready to run and stuff like that. And and once you untether them, the boars, they go and they find they just kind of trot off on their own to a mud wallow up by the wall there, and they roll around in the mud, kind of playing, almost very playful. And the few acolytes that are they're watching and helping you guys out are giving a good chuckle watching the boars go and play in the mud and stuff. Like there's nothing better in the world to see than animals playing, you know, beast of burden playing and being relaxed and such.
Dilfa slaps him on the back. It's good to be home, friends. It's good to be home.
This is a pretty crazy home.
Okay, so
I've only spent about 10
once the
years
animals
here.
are
It's
taken
fine.
care of, the acolytes are approaching you and Zilpha, and they're asking, "My lady, would you care to refresh yourselves in the refectory, or would you go and pay your respects in the chapel?"
I need to pay my respects in the chapel. I need to report to the head of my order as quickly as possible, my friends, as quickly as possible.
Very good, very good. Go right on ahead, my lady. The rest, if you would please, we have prepared some cots for you to spend the evening in the refectory. Unfortunately, it's just not much more than barracks. You know, we spend, you know, we focus here on giving the animals comfort rather than ourselves. So, you know, but it's warm and dry and out of this storm.
Sounds good.
Thank you, friends. Thank you. It's good to be home. It's good to be home. And she makes her way toward where she knows the head of the order is going to be.
Is it okay to be this close to the water?
Oh, honey, it's okay. Totally fine. She pats Kavik on the head. It's okay.
Okay.
You don't even know. It's going to be fine. This is nothing. This is just a normal storm. It's fine.
Oh, bother. Don't worry about it unless you're a slug. You're not a slug, are you?
And Tixos, you comfort him. I got to go. I have problems to handle. You know this town. You talk to him. I got to go.
All right, let's go to my house.
I hope they
want
got
some-
some bacon up at Aunt Tixos' house.
I want some of my mama's victuals.
Does your mama know how to make biscuits?
Yeah, biscuits and gravy.
Oh, mercy.
Well,
Red-eye
for him to have
gravy.
turned out as large as he did, she'd have to be a good cook, wouldn't she?
I know.
Otherwise, he'd never have taken such an affection for food.
I never did learn how to cook. It was all my mama's fault.
I bet she knew how to make some good red-eye gravy. I bet she knows how to make some good
Okay.
meatloaf.
I like her turkey dressing.
Okay, so Shannon, you head on into the temple.
Yeah.
You see there are you see it's just a large open area, and there's the order symbol and a huge bas relief on the far wall, and then there are spiraling stairs that go up to lookout posts on either side, where acolytes are typically tasked to keep an eye out for the weather and for signs of sails moving into harbor.
I bet I could skip up those spiral
And,
staircases
in
within 0
one
seconds
portion
flat.
of it, on the corner and then out, you can see out onto the corner that the beacon fire is lit for the storm, and it's full dark by now. You're seeing the flashing light of the lighthouse on the other side of the bay. Occasionally flashing and lighting up the through the arched openings in the top of the chapel. As you move in, you go towards the back where there's the door towards the high priest's private quarters and such, which is nestled actually in the seawall itself.
Mm-hmm. I bet I've spent many a year skipping around this place. I know exactly where I'm going.
Right. Okay. So you go up and you knock on the door to the high priest's private chambers, and after a minute, old Verdict pops open the door a little bit, and you see him. He's he looks like he's shrunken in on himself a little bit since the last time since you were last home, and his age is showing more and more. He's in his 80s, so but he still looks healthy. Just a little extra crick, possibly from the storm. The weather, the storm and the weather making his old muscles ache, and it's Zilpha, so good to see you. The acolyte said you had made it home. What could I do for you, young lady? Come in, have a seat.
Well, she makes a respectful obeisance to him, and immediately, without any kind of...
none of that. You know better. Come, sit. Well, we can watch the storm play in the waves. And he brings you into his little office / parlors that he has. It's underneath underneath in the tower, the corner tower of the seawall, underneath where the beacon fire is, and there's tall windows, and the shutters are open, or not windows. There's no glass in the windows. They're just tall windows, and there's a few horizontal bars to make sure no sea rat gets blown in. And he sits you in a comfortable leather padded chair next to one of the windows, and you can see out in the storm playing with the waves and a little bit as the lighthouse flashes across the water, lighting it up. So sit. How do things fare? What's the news from your travels?
And she immediately starts to pour forth a tale of how she's joined with the caravan, and how she traveled with these friends, and how we were called into this mission against the Orc Fortress. And then
you're telling about the caravan and the friends you've made. He claps and smiles. Oh, very, very good job. So what then?
And so she continues to tell the tale of how we went to the giant's cottage, and we, after his demise, and what we found there, and how we acquired new friends there. And then about how we traveled back to the refuge and finding the temple of the priest of, what was the god of war, what was his name?
Gwydion,
yeah.
The goddess of war.
Yeah, talking about what we found with Gwydion and what she detected about him, and how disturbing that was.
No.
And how, we
it's
defeated
very
him.
Disturbing indeed.
How we defeated him, and with the other members who were infected, and how we attempted to secure them into the refuge so that they would not be a danger. And then how they burst forth and how she rushed forth to defend her party members because she didn't believe any of them had a means to attack or defend against these creatures that she knew about, but they didn't. And how now she believes that she's been infected by these creatures, and now she believes that she needs the blessing of the priest of Attain. And how deeply it affects her that she's concerned that Artis might be offended by the fact that she's been infected, but yet Artis has been so faithful in continuing to provide her with spells and to continuing to provide healing and continuing to provide the light and load spell and so forth, and so that she's just confused, and so she's come to him for guidance.
Please, please, please. Lord Artis is not so petty. He understands. You think you're the first, of the faithful to have been so afflicted? We wander the world. Of course, we run into all sorts of strange manner of beasts and such. Actually, he will shield you from having your faithful steed respond negatively to you.
Oh, truly?
When this change is begin to set in. Of course.
Oh,
Lord
my
Artis
greatest...
is not petty and whimsical.
My greatest fear was that Larry would fear me. Once he feared I was a predator, once he sensed my predatory nature, that he would fear me and would run away. No?
No, not your faithful steed. Other animals very well may, but not your faithful steed.
Oh, Artis is good.
He looks like
Artis
he's trying
is
to
good.
look up for the moon and look out the window towards the moon and kind of rolls his eyes at the storm clouds for a moment and says, yes. So with the new moon, as the moon starts to grow, you will start to notice these things.
Well, Artis has been
You did
faithful
very well
thus
to return
far.
home so quickly.
Well, my faithful friends have assisted me. They are good friends
As
indeed.
long as you follow a path that will help you to deal with this, then he will remain so.
So what should I do next? What should I do immediately?
No worries. Those quacks up at the Temple of Attain are very good at dealing with this sort of thing, and they may try to embarrass you to no end in the process because they're a little bit flighty up there, I'm afraid. But we'll make an appointment. I'll send an acolyte to make an appointment for you I'll send an acolyte tomorrow to make an appointment for you to speak with their high priestess, and then in a day or two we've got time. You did very good getting home, as I said, and they will make what preparations are needed so that you can work with the priestess and do what needs to be done.
Do you have any blessing that you can offer?
None, I'm afraid, that will help you with this. As you were taught, only the priest and priestesses of the Changing One can offer any significant blessing as far as this goes.
Can you protect my friends
Okay.
from the changes that I might face?
Again,
My friends and their animals?
you know this. You know that the priest and priestess of Attain are the only ones that can help. Only their blessings will have any effect.
I had hoped that you would have some...
It's been explained to you. This
Well,
has been explained to you. You know this.
I had hoped you would have some additional
Relax,
gift.
relax, my daughter. I understand. You're a bit flustered by all of this, but just relax. I would ask you to spend tomorrow in meditation, and I will have the appointment made for you. Okay?
I will do as you
Get some
say.
good rest tonight, and you will spend tomorrow in meditation.
I am your servant. I will do as you say.
Okay.
What are they eating over at Antixo's house? I'm dying to know.
Okay.
Quick
Yes,
stayed in the temple.
On to the other.
He wasn't invited that I was aware of.
He's taking care of
Okay,
some animals.
Yeah, the acolytes will let you explore the chapel itself, and you can climb up to the stairs to see out over the seawall and see the beacon fire, and you see the waves crashing against the cliff down here, and even the tallest waves don't make it a quarter of the way up the cliff to the seawall itself. Despite the sand.
I'll have sneaked away from Zed so I can take a look by myself. But it's pretty dark now, so there isn't really a whole lot to see except for like when lightning strikes and stuff. And then it's still blackness.
Right. Right, and it's mostly the wind rather than the storm itself. The rain, it's not a lot of rain. It's just scattered showers that have been going off and on.
Yeah, but with that all covering up the moon, there's
Okay,
much to see
so
but
the
black.
others that followed Antixo's home. Or did he end up going home by himself? Antixo's Zed Arendelle.
This is my house, guys.
I was gonna say, as far as I know, we all went with him.
Right, well, I was just making sure because Vic kicked me with the, oh, hey, he did his own thing. Okay, so Ed Tixos leads you back up and down the little side road to his house and his family's home, and you see it's a very stout rectangular building. This guy has the typical gray clay tile roof.
There's our wizard tower.
It looks like it's actually 3 stories tall. And there's some odd lights coming from the 3rd story. Where it takes us, and this is where your parents' laboratory is.
This here's where my parents' laboratory is. Oh bother, I hope they're home. I'm hungry.
Alright.
Bring me back some biscuits and gravy. Bring me back some of them there meatloafs with the sauce on it. Bring me back some of them there chickens and rice.
Zephyr, you're all holed up in the temple.
Well, I'm just saying, I want some of that good I want some of that good Antixos Mama's cooking.
Yeah, well, okay, we got to give them their turn, okay?
Oh, if we must, but I want to eat that.
All right. Okay, so you're at your parents' home.
Well, I go on in like I own the place.
Okay. Move inside and take those. So, you're nice, comfortable, and homey. And you hear a sounds like small bells chiming from up above you. And this is your mother's typical little alarm spell going off, saying that someone has come to visit, come to call, and the others follow you in. It's a large, pretty open floor plan on the bottom floor here, and a stairway heading up to the left, and the ground. The area you see is there's a large kitchen area with a big, long, very heavy table with a couple of benches next to it. There's a few leather padded chairs sitting next to the hearth. Uh, several bookshelves off to one side with scattered stacks of parchments and scrolls and two large tomes. Texas, you know, these are your parents' notes on their researches and stuff that they like to sit by the fire, you know, when they're not, don't have their noses buried in some experiment or other. And as you're all taking in the sights, you hear some heavy waddling steps coming down the stairway, and
Mama, Papa,
middle-aged woman
is you
with,
home?
nice, even more shaped like a ball than Antixos is, comes waddling down the stairs with her skirts flying, and she's got all sorts of mystic runes embroidered in copper thread into the robe she's wearing, and she goes, "Antixos, my boy." She comes running up to you and
Oh, Mama, I thought
gives
I'd
you a
never
hug
see
and
you
puts her arms,
again.
barely make it halfway around you. And oh, my boy, you're starving. You're so tiny now. Let me go fix up a pheasant for you. And she goes,
Yeah, I
"Hustle
could
up
use
the
some
kitchen.
dumplings.
Papa, come on down. Put your experiment away." And you hear some other more heavy thudding steps coming down the stairs, and a man in black and gray party-colored leggings with more copper stitching along comes down, and he's actually not nearly as large as Antixos and his mother, but still a very sizable man. Well, now, what in the world happened to you? You were supposed to be going to find some stuff for your lessons, and you've been for a week.
Yeah, sorry about that, Papa. I took a detour to look for some of them truffles that I like, and well, I ran afoul of some orcs, and they captured me and took me to the fortress out west in the hills there, and these kind people kind of rescued me. Well, some of these people.
Oh dear, you don't say.
Actually, none of the ones that rescued you are with you.
Actually, none of these people came with me. These are our new guys. My other friends are doing their own thing.
No, Edward would be with you. Edward would be with you guys.
Okay, so
Oh
Edward,
yeah, Edwards. Yeah.
So you indicate that Edward was part of the group. Your dad comes up and gives, "Wow, you're a big man, aren't you?" And gives Edward a good solid thwack on his back, and "Ooh, you're making pheasants. Let's all sit."
Is you making
And
dumplings,
you see
Mama?
that,